All right, we're here with Shane Snow. Shane's been an agent with us since January. So, Shane, what's kind of your background before you got into specifically being a realtor?
First, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I started off as a loan officer in March of 21, so a pretty good time to get into the industry. Did that for about a year and a half before I knew I was going to end up here wearing this realtor hat. Pretty much as soon as I started that, but the timing just had to be right. Before that, I was in building services, so not really related at all. As soon as I got to the loan side, I knew this was what I had been looking for forever, really, from a career standpoint. And then once I got that realtor hat on in January, that's when it confirmed for me. Even in those dark days where there were no deals and I was doing boots on the ground work for out of state wholesalers, taking screws out of abandoned Detroit houses, that's where you start. So that's what I did.
Now you had that early grind, and then now you're, we were just talking about it. You're on fire.
Yeah.
And we'll hit
Pun
that
intended.
more. Yeah, and you're on the fire team. You kind of hit what your early grind looked like. What would you say you're kind of like specializing in at this point? Because you've had a lot of early success.
After joining Fire Realty team, as you said, in March, end of March, obviously we specialize in working with investors. I myself like to, as much as I love working with the investors, the first-time home buyer and primary home buyer, it really has a place in my heart. I've done a lot of primary deals as part of the 20 plus deals I've closed so far. And not that I don't love working with my investors, it's definitely a different mindset and a different skill set. But I like to think good to be all around, but also always going to have a place in my heart for those primary buyers.
I always think the best experience in this business is when you hand a first-time home buyer the key, and especially if their family's never been a family of home ownership, and they're kind of one of the first people in their family or the first, right, to own a house. It's just such a unique moment that, as much as I love every other deal, that has just something special to it.
Yeah, it really makes you feel good about what we do. Not that, the other deals don't, like you said, but
helping an investor get richer, that's great too. And right, that doesn't necessarily have the emotional aspect of it and the kind of the that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, life changing.
Right, life changing, family tree changing. You said 20 plus deals since basically January, right? Maybe even mainly after March, right? And so it wasn't that long ago that you were kind of on the loan side of things. Becoming a realtor, even though you were kind of in the space, what was something you didn't anticipate on the realtor side that you wish you would have known getting in?
Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate starting off where I did on the loan side. I didn't have to do any self-gen. Leads were just fed to me, and I could just execute. I'm very good at high-level execution, especially when it's handed to me, like, this is how you do it. So I think just coming in as a solo agent to start, finding out you really have to be a business owner. You are starting from nothing. Even if you do have a great sphere and great support, you're the man or woman to, like, everything starts and stops with you. So that was really the biggest thing for me. Very eye-opening. It didn't deter me. It made some nights harder to go to sleep than others, but like I said, I was pretty sure I knew this was the space I was going to be in and find success in, and I knew I could do it quickly. Just what that meant, whether that was 3 months or a year. Other than that, really the biggest thing is that grind, having that determination. That's something that was built into me, growing up and in my early in my career in another world. If you don't have that, you better find it or find a different career path.
Yeah. I think when you're in a commission-based only business, you either have that or you don't, right? And the washout rates are 80+%, right? And it's kind of the haves and have-nots. And then you look at who's left, and then, a lot of the money goes to the top. And those are the people that show up every day, like you kind of said, the commitment factor. And then there's everyone who's part-time, right? And there's really very few in the middle, you know what I mean? So you're either making a lot of money or a little money. There's not too many people just making average money.
Right.
It just doesn't work like that. So you've been wildly successful so far. You could be at any brokerage. Would love to have you. Why Keller Williams Pink Creek?
Great question. So thank you, first of all, for stating that it's wildly successful.
20 closings since March. I mean, That's going to put you in the top 0.1% in the industry.
Yeah, it's something to remind yourself of, because there are plenty of other things to slap you upside the head, say you're not being successful at all.
Right.
And I think, that's a great place to start with the answer to your question. The support of this brokerage, the desire from top down to make that, to have agents want to be successful and be successful business owners, whether it's as a solo agent, as I started off. I know I could have been successful there, or one of the best teams in all of the land. Some of the great teams that we have, Delia Group, Fire Realty team,
Yeah.
the list goes on. I think if you look at the stats, the proof is in the pudding there. But it's not just about those stats. It's about how we get there here. And just time and again, I mean, I interviewed 8 different brokerages, I think.
I didn't know that. Did you really? Wow.
And it wasn't even close.
Wow.
It just every time it came back to, all right, what could they possibly offer me that Payton Creek doesn't? Keller Williams, Payton Creek, and it was, I mean, across the board. I think just like in the interim, like kind of in that interview process, I came to the office downtown Rochester for just a free seminar. It was a wholesaling seminar.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't even realize I was coming to Payton Creek for it. And I looked up and I'm like, I text Ryan and Kristen, a couple of agents out of the DLA group. And I'm like, hey, you guys gonna be here? And just that connection, the ability to reach out, get assistance. I think starting off, whether you're a new agent, just fresh off out of the exam, or someone who has found success and is really looking to take that next step, this is the place to do it.
Man, I have nothing to add to that. That's fantastic. Thank you. I didn't even know you were going to say all that. Well, I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
pleasure being in business with you.
Thanks for having me, Joe.